Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Rainbow Climate Change podcast, usually hosted by your environment prefects Malikia and Philip. But for this episode, it's just Philip. Unfortunately, Malikia and I were not able to record an episode together, so we're going solo and hopefully we'll be able to record an episode together for you guys. Today, I wanted us to talk about how climate change affects our health. And I was trying to look for a definition of what health is, but something I found is that health looks at your physical, mental, and social well being. Today, I just wanted to focus on the physical aspect of health, but that does not mean that climate change has no impact on our mental and social well being, or that these aspects of health are any less important. Thanks to changing rainfall patterns and higher temperatures, vector-borne diseases have a greater range. What are vector-borne diseases? A vector is usually an insect that carries diseases. So vector-borne diseases are illnesses that can be transmitted by vectors. Mosquitoes are a fairly common example, spreading diseases such as malaria and Rift Valley fever. Because temperatures are rising, mosquitoes are able to move to higher altitudes where temperatures used to be too cold for them. This includes places such as the East African highlands, for example. In general, however, higher rainfall and unusually higher temperatures usually lead to a larger number of malaria cases. Higher temperatures also allow younger mosquitoes to develop faster, while increased rainfall provides more areas of still, unmoving water that mosquitoes can use to breed. Earlier, I mentioned Rift Valley fever, so let's look at that in a bit more detail. Rift Valley fever, or RVF for short, is a disease caused by a virus that affects both humans and animals. Mild symptoms are flu-like, while more severe ones can affect the eyes and brain, potentially leading to a hospitalization and, in really severe cases, death. As the name suggests, the first case of RVF was reported in the Rift Valley towards the beginning of the last century. RVF outbreaks typically occur in Africa and the Middle East, often following El Niño events, which we discussed in episode 2, and unusually high rainfall. Rift Valley fever can be transmitted by coming into contact with body fluids of infected animals or through bites from infected mosquitoes, so climate change increases the risk of RVF. Another impact climate change has on our health is from extreme weather events. Extreme weather events often have a higher risk of accidents occurring. Additionally, climate change affects water availability. Heavy rainfall can lead to poorer sanitation and increased contamination of water supplies, while droughts limit access to safe drinking water, so the risk of waterborne diseases may increase. Waterborne diseases being illnesses that are spread through contaminated or unsafe water. An example of a waterborne disease is cholera. Outbreaks of the disease are expected to impact East Africa most severely during and especially after El Niño events. If global warming reaches 1.5 to 2.1 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, climate change could result in 20 to 30,000 deaths due to diarrhea in children below the age of 15, with West Africa most affected on the continent, followed by East, Central, and Southern Africa in that order. That isn't good at all. But switching gears away from water, droughts could lead to crop and livestock failures, resulting in heightened malnutrition due to smaller food supplies. On top of that, higher concentrations of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere could affect the nutritional value of plants such as wheat, rice, and soybeans by lowering the amount of protein and minerals like zinc and iron contained within them. If you want a deeper look at how climate change affects our food and farming, check out our last episode on agriculture. You might be wondering if certain areas will be affected by climate change more than others, especially when it comes to their health. Major risk areas include informal settlements and other areas that don't receive services like garbage collection, safe water, and electricity. Climate change could lead to increased infestations of pests such as flies, cockroaches, rats, bedbugs, and lice. Yes, pesticides could be used to control these infestations. However, if chemical pesticides are used inappropriately or disposed of improperly, this has been linked to increased cases of certain cancers. Even though today's episode is a bit different, we're still going to have our regular quiz at the end. If you're new here, this is just a chance for you to see how much you remember from today's episode. So I'll ask a question, feel free to pause, think, come up with an answer, and then press play when you're ready for the next question. So our first question is, what is a vector? What is a vector? Second question, how does climate change affect our nutrition? How does climate change affect our nutrition? That's it for this episode of the Rainbow Climate Change Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a thing or two about how climate change affects our health. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment them below or send us an email. And until next time, take care.